Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. Thank you once again for joining on this journey. Indeed. Hello, Wolfie. Thank you for barking to get us going pretty quickly here. Creeper, mountain, west, east, securing the hidey hole. Indeed. So yes, we're back. Far Lands or Bust. This is episode 270, and it is Thursday, July 18th, 2013. Why do I hear things? I thought I heard things. So paranoid, so very paranoid. But yeah, we're continuing on. Wolf, we are. Oh, another wolf. Ooh, that's Wolfie. And a spoiler. Wolfie's checking out the spoiler. Hello, guy. Oh, you're doing a weird glitchy thing too. Yeah, Far Lands or Bust. My name is Kurt. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, and etc. We're in episode 270, and we're still finding some random derp towers throughout the world. But we're also raising money for Child's Play charity over at farlandsorbust.com. Let me gather some wood here. Over at farlandsorbust.com, raising money for Child's Play charity, getting toys, books, games to kids in hospitals and children's hospitals around the world. Great whoa, almost hit Wolfie with an axe. Great cause, as always, to get behind, and we have supported for 3 seasons thus far, and we're right now at $36,453.50 raised towards our $100,000 goal this season. And when we raise $100,000 is where I will finally press F3 to see how far we have come since the end of the last season, excuse me, where we were at 699,492. The longest axis away from the 00 was 699,492. Well beyond that, I'm sure. There are many a threads and many a discussions and estimations, but we will not know for certain. Certainly, we will not know for certain until we raise that $100,000. So help out over at farlandsorbust.com. I appreciate it. As do the people at Child's Play charity and the kids that they help in those hospitals. So good cause indeed. Wolfie agrees. These are some fairly magnificently floating islands here. Ooh. Yeah, usually I guess it might be kind of a continuation of whatever's going on in that biome, but usually, you know, they're connected to something, or there's some sort of consistent reasoning behind floating islands in the biome, but these are pretty just random. It's like they just floated over here. Ooh, there's cool cliffs over there as well. Indeed. So, we're continuing on. I was about to say something, but then I forgot. Which is a magical skill for a YouTube commentary guy to have. To have an idea of discussions of topics, and then completely blank when you hit the record button. I am working on my PhD in such skills. Such skills! You cannot handle my skills. Ooh, this is more of a shrubbery than a tree. Let's collect it as well. Boop. Oh, I was about to... It's episode 270, and every once in a while I try to explain things. A lot of people are, once again, new subscribers and whatnot. Don't blame you, but for not knowing everything about the series, but I certainly welcome you to Far Lands or Bust. You are now Let me try that again. You are now Farlanders, rather. And one of the things you'll immediately notice is the jitteriness of the world. Just look at that block, and when I travel, especially on the diagonal, whereas I'm just traveling on one axis right here, I think the Z axis? Or is it the X? I think it's the Z. The Z axis is where I'm actually heading west. If I travel in 2 axes, you really see the jitteriness. That is simply a result of being so far away from the 00 marker. And there is I suppose you could call it a bug, or simply a mathematical rounding error, where there's a floating point precision bug that, as that number gets larger and larger, the decimal place moves over and over, and therefore you lose an entire power of precision. hence floating point precision. And with every step, the game tries to find out where I and entities are. Like, even if I put blocks down, you can see the block isn't jittery, but the world underneath it is. It's because that block is only there relative to me and not relative to the world, as am I, as is Wolfie, as are other elements. So it's just the game not being specific enough, calculating where in the world I am located. So that's what the jitteriness is. It's not due to this custom texture pack I'm using, which is fairly vanilla, a few tweaks here and there. And as always, there are links in the video description where you can check it out for yourself. What else? What else is worth? That's really, instead of going over and doing an entire, here right here is a very good visual explanation. You can see the selection box is way off. That's where it's estimating the block to be, where that rounding error is chopping off where, that's how far off the precision is. So that just becomes evident while we're walking, too. So yeah, I'm not going to explain everything. There is over at farlandsorbust.com. On the homepage, you can donate to Child's Play charity, but there's an FAQs page. I try to explain a little bit more. I think it links in the Minecraft wiki. There's a page on the Farlands. It's since been labeled, an archive article because the Farlands are no longer in the current versions of the game since 1.7.3 beta, which is what I'm playing in. But you can learn more about it there. Far more specifics about the math behind it and the specific numbers and where the Farlands start and where the floating point precision has to deal with being zeros and ones and binaries and bits and whatever. I don't quite pride myself in knowing that like the back of my hand, despite it being a very important part of the series. So yeah, I do appreciate all the new people showing up and having these questions, being curious, having curious minds, and I hope you guys stick around. Indeed. And I can get right to answering some questions along with donations. There's a questions or comments field, and I've asked people to provide questions with their donations, and I'll try to use those as topic and conversation starters. As I previously mentioned, I'm quite skilled in not having and or forgetting the topics and conversations I would like to have during these episodes. So your questions help in more ways than one. So let's see. I have been collecting, but I've grouped together quite a series of questions regarding Farlands or Bust, or even more vaguely, YouTube, my YouTube channel and things. So I'd like to go through those today. The first from an anonymous donation. Speaking of people doing mathematics and estimations, they claim to have estimated that I have used over 2,300 wool blocks in making beds in Farlands or Bust. Every episode I use about 3 beds, if it's a standard 3-day episode, obviously. I sleep every night because it's too dangerous to travel at night, and also it resets my spawn point so that if I do happen to have some sort of calamity or tragedy, I will spawn back at my previous bed and not all the way at 0-0 or my original spawn point, wherever near 0-0 that was. But they've estimated I've used over 2,300 wool blocks making beds. That's a lot of sheep, they say. What would you have built if you had all of those 2,300 wool blocks in any combination of colors, but couldn't use any other block types in a survival map? I think overall, I don't know that is actually a lot of wool blocks. I'm quite certain that on the old Mindcrack server, the Season 3 server, I'm quite sure that Milby's giant sheep probably would have taken more wool than that, even. So 2,300 wool blocks is not terribly a lot. I know I was doing calculations for how many blocks I needed for my prank on Vintage Beef, the giant floating block of ice. And my calculations were in the thousands as well, and that was 3 or 4 double chests full. It turned out that I overestimated, and I probably had enough for at least 2 of those floating blocks of ice, but Yeah, blocks go quick when you're thinking of mega build. So I'm not sure. I don't, as not really a builder, I don't know that I would have much of a use for 2,300 wool blocks. But I do appreciate the very interesting question, and thank you for following along and doing that math. And we will continue using these beds and utilizing more and more wool in the morning. And so comfortable. So much comfortableness in this bed. The Farlands of Us bed. That's one of the things the texture pack changes. Indeed, Wolfie. As well as your blue collar and snazzy 3D glasses. Woof. Another question from a donator, Polar Moss. If you could bring anyone with you on your walk to the Farlands, who would it be and why? Well, I'm sure you're wanting me to just pick somebody for fun and saying, yes, this person I want to bring with me. But to be honest, in my mind, and I think in a lot of other people's minds, one of the... I don't want to say... Well, let's say one of the attractive features, one of the defining features of Farlands or Bust is that it is indeed a solo journey. We have Wolfie, obviously, but he's a little bit more of just an extension of ourselves, I guess. Perhaps, I don't know, not to diminish the importance of Wolfie. He certainly does have his own personality, as we're about to find out as he pushes me around. Yep. The fact that it is a solo journey, it is in Minecraft Beta 1.7.3. It does really harken back to the days of early Minecraft when a lot of us started playing. There wasn't that much support for or availability of multiplayer servers. So the majority of playing in Minecraft was a solo, lonely experience, not in a bad way, but in a good way. That it was part of the draw and interest, and why I generally tended to be more exploratory, because settling down and building houses or mega builds and things like that seemed like something you, obviously through video and screenshots, you could show off, but it really seemed very self-serving if I was going to build a gigantic castle or build, but only be able to experience it myself because I'm not sharing it with anyone. Which is why maybe I do a little bit more building. I try to force myself to do a little bit more building in multiplayer servers on the Minecraft server and stuff. So I don't know if I would, and I'm sure I've mentioned this before, how sure it's possible I could somehow port this to a multiplayer world. I can get a version of the multiplayer server from Beta 1.7.3, and I could invite other people to Farlands Bust, to have guests on the show and things like that, but I've very much avoided that. I've had Skype guests. Well, I've had a Skype guest. Brian, Lorgon111, joined me twice. And perhaps I'll do that. I always say that, but it hasn't happened in like over half a year. But perhaps in the future that's another option, but I don't know. I don't think I would bring anybody on the journey, if you will. So, I don't have to choose and then make other people feel bad that I didn't choose them over somebody else. Technicalities. I love taking advantage of them. The world is kind of having a little bit of a problem loading up in the distance here. Might be time to clean out and reformat the old Fraps drive. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, thanks for that question regardless, and the donation to Child's Play charity. An anonymous donation came in with a question: what landmark in the Flob world would you have enjoyed the most so far on your journey? There's quite a few. Obviously, the F3 landmarks that I built. The first one, the 292-202 monument, being in kind of that interesting little mountainy area with what I deemed the Fist of Notch. And the little thing I built there is very important. And then so much the fact that that's a good Farlands of Bust flashback. I should do that. Where I came across the kind of surrealistic, natural mirror image of the 292-202 monument area it seemed like the terrain repeated itself, which was very strange. I'll have to find out when that was and turn it into a Farlands or Bust flashback for all those of you who might have missed it. So I'll have to look at that. Ooh, hello. Obviously the 699492 monument, that's a very interesting area. But of course there's also the Canyon of Woe, the dark and magical pit of bottomless destiny. There's plenty of places. Even the first, I suppose, it wasn't an F3 area, but when I reached $820 for my first fundraiser in less than a week, there was that area next to a skeleton spawner in a desert that I built a little house. And that, you know, that is kind of a little bit of a nostalgic, a very early on area that I can really, in my mind, a flip got switched, that flip switched, or switch flipped, whatever, scratch itched. That really solidified in my mind that, hey, this is actually a thing that's happening here, so I can very much associate that with that area, that specific area of the Farlands Bus map, but I'm just excited about the different places that we go, and one of the things that attracts me about this sort of journey is that we see all these awesome places, but we'll never return to them. We pass them up and then we leave them behind, and it's just kind of a fleeting experience, and it's always worth knowing or not knowing what's coming up across the horizon here, even if it is kind of this boring ice plains biome. But, you know, you never know what next feature of the Farlands or Bus world we're going to come across. So, very cool. And again, in addition to the lonely journey type thing, it's another advantage, another draw for me to continue Farlands or Bust, and I hope a draw for you guys to continue watching. Indeed. Let's see. From Matt and Braden with their donation, they asked, have you ever actually been to the Farlands by using map editors or teleportation cheats or anything just to experience it? That's right, I have not. I have not. I did, the closest I could say is we played somebody made a Farlands Race for Wool map, and at the end of that, in the final segment, they copied and pasted a segment of the terrain from the Farlands. So that is actually the only time in the game. I've seen videos, obviously, I've seen pictures, but in the game myself, I have never actually gone to the Farlands. I still am very cautious about saying that I will even ever get there in this world, but I still want to kind of keep it a mystery. It's not a mystery. Like I said, people have been there. People can teleport themselves there. There's a post on the wiki about it. Oh gosh, have I been wiki? Okay, good. keep an eye on your compass, Kurt. There's a post on the wiki. There's videos, people exploring it and testing it and things like that. Both the overworld's Farlands and the nether Farlands and places like that. But for myself, I like keeping it a mystery. So perhaps in the distant future, when I do finally reach it, it will be all that much more exciting and new and surprising, and just brain explodiness will happen. So no, I have never been to the Farlands. Indeed. Well, I guess earlier in the episode, I did collect some wood, but somebody asked, why do you only ever collect oak trees in Farlands or Bust? I'm not sure. You know, I don't know. Let me test this. Let me check out. I don't think the planks are different colors in this version, are they? Well, let me test this by getting some of these darker wood trees over here. These pine, I guess, trees. Is that what they're called? Because my initial reaction is that I want them... Oh god, that's a spawner. Is that I want them to stack, but I don't know that they actually... No, okay. They stack! Doesn't matter what kind of tree you get, they stack. I told myself I wasn't going to go digging for hidden spawners, so I'm gonna stick with that. It's just a little bit of a redundancy. I'd have to stop every so often to do that. So I don't know. It's probably I'm going to assume, since I've just now discovered that they can stack, and I'm assuming birchwood trees do the same. Although we'll have to, I guess, test that. It's probably just because they don't stack in the current versions of the game, and it's probably just subconscious. You know, my mind chooses automatically to pick the tree that I've already have. There's one over there. It's too far. That I already have all the planks in, so it's probably just subconscious. I mean, they're also a lot smaller. I have a thing in Minecraft where I don't, despite the fact that I just did that past there, I don't like leaving floating trees, even though I'm never going to come back to these places. I don't like leaving strange objects like that. I don't like leaving floating trees. If I'm on the Minecraft server and somebody has left a floating tree or just a single block of wood in the top and the leaves aren't decaying, I have to fix it. Even if I don't live in the area, or even if I don't need the wood, I have to fix it. I have to take down that tree. So a little bit of an OCD thing, I guess, but also just subconscious that it. I want to choose the wood that stacks, even though it doesn't matter in this version of the game. So subconscious. Subconscious. Piano music. There has been a lot of the last episode and this episode. Very, you know, sometimes I can go an entire episode without hearing music, but here's the second instant I've heard music already. It shall put me to sleep, and we will see you in the morning. And musical melodiesness. Right, Wolfie? Let's see if you need some wood. Indeed. Wood? We're just talking about wood? No, you need pork chops. Pork chops. Bloop. Another question from a donator regarding Farlands or Bust to YouTube from Poke Canada. Just poke 'em. Poke Canada asks, do you think you'd still be making videos and be as successful if it wasn't for Farlands or Bust? What series would you think you'd be doing? That is a tough question because it kind of requires a lot of speculation. I'll certainly say that the thing that got me rolling, obviously, and most got me a lot of the initial boosts of viewers and subscribers, and really made me feel like this was a thing that was becoming successful. Totally surprising and out of the blue for me, but was obviously Farlands or Bust. But so I can't say if I didn't ever come up with the Farlands or Bust idea, the concept, the series, if I would be as popular, or if I would be able to have turned this into a full-time deal for me. I don't know. I mean, I suppose the ultimate test would have been had I not branched out into other gaming videos or other games. If the only thing I had ever continued doing was Farlands or Bust, would it have been as successful? I don't know. I like to think that part of the reason I'm able to keep doing it is the variety on my channel, and I realize that not everybody is a Farlands or Bust watcher. Perhaps they're here for another series or another game, or just the fact that I'm on the Mindcrack server. That obviously helped quite a significant amount, as collaborations and getting referrals and things always does on YouTube. So I don't know. I'm not a big speculative person. I don't like to really think of what ifs or had this or had not this happen sort of thing. I do like how I'm currently in, what I'm currently doing. I mean, even people, I'm sure, could ask, oh, if you didn't turn it into the Child's Play charity thing, would you would have kept it up? I don't know, maybe not. I mean, one of the reasons I decided, I noticed the following, the increase in followers is that maybe I should use that for good, and I noticed that, Farlands or Busts, that's about the time I started to realize how far the Farlands were. I never looked into it, by the way. When I first started the journey, I thought it might have been a hop, skip, and a jump. I thought that it might have been even a gradual... Good lord, that was close. A gradual progression to the Farlands, and not necessarily the flat wall that it actually is. I didn't know that much about it, so when I started to finally realize the journey I was on, I decided that I needed some other incentive for myself, but also for viewers. A little bit of a goal. You know, I need goals in my games. I have problems with games without goals. That's why I have problems coming up with things to do on things like the Mindcrack server if there's no clear objective in front of me. It's why I tend to have a problem, even I can admit, in Kerbal Space Program. I can assure you that once they do come out with that career mode where there are indeed goals and objectives and I don't know, even a storyline, not necessarily an end point. I don't need an end point. I don't need an end game, but I need an objective. So there's that. So yeah, the objective here has kind of switched. It still is the Farlands. It's still Farlands or Bust, but it has switched to just helping charity, Child's Play charity, raising money. This is a walk-a-thon, but it's also been keeping things interesting by allowing you guys to get involved with the questions and reaching out to different other communities, and, you know, just making a whole community out of it, and a project, an objective, something even outside of Minecraft video games. It's a real world objective, and that really, Wolfie, there he is. That really helps it stand apart and helps it continue. So yeah. What if this? What if that? How did this? How did that? It's not any one single thing. I can tell you that much. It's a very fortunate series of events, and I hope for them to continue. And I'm doing a lot of work to ensure that they continue. Hopefully, so that's the most I can do, I think, or the least I can do, and I'll just continue on with that in mind. I realize I'm kind of going diagonally here, but I'm getting a little bit sick of boats this episode, so I'm gonna do my best to keep to land, even though that seems to be running out quite quickly. Let's see, another anonymous question from a donator. If you could go back to when you first made your first YouTube video, I'm assuming you're talking about Let's Play. I have other first YouTube videos up that have nothing to do with Let's Play. They're kind of just my own personal uploads or astronomy related videos and things that I just wanted to share a video or show this off or something and uploaded it to YouTube. But if you were to go back, would you do anything differently concerning your channel? Yeah, I would definitely have chosen a better name for my channel. Although now, with Farlands or Bust, the name of my channel has become Farlands or Bust. That's kind of the identity. You know, kind of like the Yogscast, his channel is Blue Zephos. That you really don't see that anymore. It's the Yogscast. It's you know, that whole identity and whatnot. So I definitely think there's a lot in a name, and I tried to find a name, but I kind of gave up on it when I was having problems. The ones I was trying were either taken or didn't make sense. And I really didn't think anything would come of it. I'm like, I'll try this Let's Play thing a little bit. It'll you know, it'll last a little bit. It'll just be for fun, as all I can assume all YouTube Let's Players have started out. It'll just be for fun. Post little videos, you know, show my friends, haha, have a laugh, and then it'll fade in the distance. So I really didn't think long term about it. But I you know, the way things are, I can't complain. So. But yeah, that's probably the only thing I would have changed about it. I mean, that's the way I can. You know, you know, you have, you know, more so than my channel's identity, my own. You know, Good is Good, Zisto is Zisto, BOO is BOO. You know, they have their names that are their characters. I know I'm now KurtJMac. It just happens to include my actual first name. So it's a little bit of back and forth, but I'm okay with it now. I have fully accepted it. I'm not going to go like, I'm going to change and start a new YouTube channel and switch over to that, because there's too much writing on this channel as there is. So yeah, that's all I would say, but otherwise not anything in the way in terms of how I started videos. You know, you can't start with your first video and be awesome at it. You know, I look back and watch those first videos and I'm pretty embarrassed, and it's pretty like, ugh, you know, the way I was pretty bad with the editing, and the audio was way off, and the microphone was pretty bad. But my voice, I didn't have my voice. I hadn't found my voice, but now I think I have. I'm still, you know, work in progress still, but it's there. So there's a lot you can say you want to change, but I think over time I've worked pretty good at changing those things and learning and growing and expanding, etc. Indeed, and whatnot. Excelsior. I don't know. I felt like there needed to be a fourth word in there somewhere. Oh, this is a unique problem to be in. Let's make our way up. Come on. Uh-oh. Whoa! I'm not gonna... Whoa. Get myself stuck here, am I? I think I have. Dang it! Ooh, the jitteriness is pretty bad. Oh, spawner! Wolfie, have a seat. Wow, this one is really well hidden. It's a zombie. You're dead! Gosh, remember when a diamond sword took 2 hits to kill a zombie? Oh, and it's a magical double chest. That's weird. Usually the chests are pinned to the wall. That's very strange. All right, let's see what's in the double chest. Holy Moses! Look at all these saddles. I'll take the iron. Redstone I have no use for. I have enough buckets. But wow at the saddles. Like, wow at the saddles. That is a lot of saddles. Obviously no horses in this version, so they're not really going to do us any good there. But yikes, I feel like I want to take a couple. I could probably take them all. Just, like, place them on pigs if I can find a herd of pigs. This is a terrible idea. My inventory is already so smushed with stuff. I don't need the feathers. I'm alright on the arrows, yeah. Ha! Yikes. Well, this is kind of cool. I do like how hidden this is. Oh gosh, am I going to have to live... I'm going to have to live in the dungeon. I don't want to do that, but... come on. Go away. You can break these things in this version of the game, right? Yes, Wolfie says yes. Okay, there we go. Make that safe. Wolfie, let's get you in here. And then we will block ourselves in. That's good timing. Thanks, Spawner. You gave me a luxury home. All right, have a seat. Let's put down the crafting bench. I have a lot of sticks, so I feel like, oh gosh, wasting them. Oh, that didn't work at all. Oh, I didn't make 2 of them. Oh, that's right, the shift click thing doesn't work. Uh-oh, quickly now. Bad stuff, bad things. This is kind of a bad area to be in. This is... Oh god, this is like the worst thing I could possibly be doing. Why are you doing it this way, Kurt? I don't know, Kurt. You can't shift click, you can't drag. Alright, alright. Ha! Oh, this is the worst hidey hole ever, Kurt. Good job. But Wolfie's in here with us, so that's alright. Let's move you over. Let's even out the lighting a little bit. Hey, guy. Alright, there we go. Well, I guess it's good in that I can look outside to see if there's any, like, creepers waiting for me, but it's going to actually take me a while to break out of there. Anyway, whew, weird episode, I feel, but I'm glad I got to answer all of these questions about Far Lands or Busts. And you can keep asking those or any other questions with your donation to Child's Play charity at farlandsorbust.com. Or in the comments below. You know, no donation required, but much appreciated as always, helping kids out in the hospitals around the world. I am over encumbered, as I mentioned before, but I think we'll manage. We just need to find a herd of 6 pigs and put saddles on them, and they will be forever saddled pigs. Oh, wow. And perhaps this will go down in history as another one of these memorable moments in Far Lands or Bust. The night I spent in a dungeon, a very weird and craftily hidden dungeon with a weird door that I put on it. But until the next weird and crazy thing we find, thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time.